Hello, good evening. It's Richard here. I hope you are keeping really well. I tried going live a few seconds ago and I managed to press the wrong button. So here I am. Fantastic to be with you. This is a really important subject tonight. And remember, what we're doing is, please, everyone is welcome to join. Tell your friends, share with fellow therapists. If you're just interested in terms of what's going on in hypnosis, please do contact me. The reason that, and feel free to let people know what's going on, share what's going on here. The reason that I have decided to do these videos, the reason that I've decided to put this on is because I realise now, as I've been speaking a lot with friends and therapists and fellow hypnotists, hypnotherapists and coaches over the past few days, that there is a massive there's a massive need for us to share information and to create some kind of community so that we are helping each other out in terms of just what we're doing, in terms of being able to help each other, in terms of being able to make sure that we keep clients coming in terms of keeping each other's spirits up. In fact, just in terms of if we have to wait a few times a year to be able to share information together, I think that can be really useful. I think it could be very good to meet up. However, I want us to create a community where we're sharing information all the time, where we're putting together systems, we're learning from the people that we're learning from, we're putting them into practice, and we're helping each other out, because I think that there are over 8 billion people in the world, and if there's over 8 billion people, all of them could benefit from our services, and that is really the purpose of what we're doing here. Being able to add greater value to people, to add massive value to people, starting with each other, because let's face it, I think if it's good enough for our clients, it's going to be good enough for us. Although, to be fair, we will probably do it a little bit differently with each other. Although, actually, at the end of the day, all we're looking to do is trigger the placebo effect so that we can, and remember, this is a theme that's running through what we're doing here, that we want to create a context for change. And I'm going to show you something tonight that I think is going to be very interesting for you. The reason that I am talking about compliance tonight is it really doesn't matter what field you work in. You want to be able to help people to be able to basically to be able to be receptive to your ideas. Now, there's a lot of different ways of thinking about this. I'm going to run through in a moment a way that you could do it with clients, but you could apply this to any area of your life. And I think the basic principles here, I'm going to make very explicit up front so that you understand them. Now, nothing, the principles, once you understand them, you can use them and you can apply. So even though I'm going to give a little example here, right the way through of this system that I've developed and I use and I find really, really helpful, really, really transformative in my practice, you can actually take that and you can transform it and you can elegantly move it around so that it fits the context that you're in. And really, the reason that we're doing compliance now is I've been asked why I'm able to get such good results for people, why I'm able to get them those results often in one session, why I don't generally have any difficulties in terms of people coming and just getting the results, why I'm able to pre-screen people, why I'm able to make sure that people are in the best, most receptive mindset. And I'll be the first person to say I cannot do that with everyone. However, I will at least know, have a very clear idea of where people are at. And it's really, really important. There was one, I think it's Sean Andrews, I think, said that one of the, another fellow hypnotist who said that, it's a dance, but you're leading. Okay, so the hypnotist or coach is leading. A little quick story. When I was in, I remember when I was in hospital a while back and I had to have a certain procedure done that, without going into detail, wasn't one I was particularly looking forward to. And I remember that one of the nurses was struggling a little bit and the consultant came along and they did a wonderful double act. They kept me distracted long enough, asking me questions, and by the time it was finished, they had done the thing that they needed to do and I didn't even notice. And it was wonderful because they used a mixture of distraction, a mixture of compliance, authority principle, a whole bunch of things, and they were able to direct step by step. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through and I'm going to show you why compliance is so important. What I've done is I've put the flip chart just because the lighting in here makes it look difficult to see at the top. I'll be able to read it, but I've put the flip chart, I've taken it as a JPEG, I've put it on my Facebook page so you can download it afterwards, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to just run through now this, and I'm going to give it to you so that even if you've never come across this concept before, you're going to know more probably than most people out there in the influence and hypnosis field, and I think this is going to be very valuable for you. So let's get into it. Let's look at compliance. Let's look at this thing called compliance, and let's see why it is so important, why it's so valuable. And the whole basic idea of what we're doing here, and the whole basic idea of what this kind of theme that is running through here is that as therapists and as coaches and as professionals, all we are doing is we are creating a context for change. So we create the optimum context in which a person can naturally change, because people do have amazing abilities inside them, amazing healing abilities, amazing abilities to learn and grow. And we see this in children, you know, we see this all the time, and we've seen it in our lives. We do have these amazing abilities inside. So we are simply trying to create the optimum context for change. And we want to do that by amplifying the positive expectation of the people, the group of people with whom we're working with. With compliance, it's really important, because any field you're in of influence and anything in your life where you want to get something, where you want agreement or somebody to do something, they have to be compliant. You have to have a way in which they are receptive to your ideas. And those of us who have children, this is quite challenging, and it tests out, and the more flexible you are, in essence, the easier it becomes. But with adults, when we want to see them, what we need to do is we need to flip a switch inside their minds so that they are receptive and open for ideas. And this gets called different things. It gets called response potential. And response potential really is the potential of somebody to respond to your suggestions. And this isn't going to happen without you doing a few certain things. Now, really, if we're imagining that we want to say, let's say, for instance, we're a therapist, a hypnotist, a coach, any kind of therapist, we want to attract somebody in for a session. And let's imagine, for instance, in this model, they're going to come in for a single session. It doesn't matter whether it's weight loss, stopping smoking, blushing. We have got to build certainty above all else. We have to build certainty that they feel that they are certain about us and our capabilities. They have to be certain about the process itself, and they have to believe that they are capable of changing. You have to build that up. And ultimately, we have to ensure receptivity to our ideas, because when we give suggestions, if we're hypnotists, we want people to actually accept those suggestions. And unless they're in a receptive state, because we have created a context in which it is okay, expected, permissible for those suggestions to go on board, then they will not be accepted. It doesn't matter how good, how well crafted your suggestions are. And any of us who've worked in this field before will see that. Including people who've got children will know that it's very easy for those suggestions. If you haven't created the right context and there's not enough motivation, it's very easy for those suggestions to be rejected. So what I'm talking about tonight applies to all sessions, whether you're having like multiple sessions with people or one. But I want to show you how I approach working with a client who comes in for the first time now. Now, I will have done this very differently years ago, where we'll simply have a chat on the phone. I will still talk about the benefits, and they come in, and I'll show you how I used to do things, which is very different to what I do now. I still do some of those things, but in terms of if somebody was coming in for a single session, I have to make sure that they are 100% ready for that. I can't just rely on the hypnosis. However good a hypnotist I am, however good the induction is, however good my metaphors and my suggestions and my script or whatever is, or my Ericksonian kind of natural kind of language patterns that I'm using, it has to be, and that's just simply not going to be enough, and we'll see why in a minute. So the model that I use for what I like to call the RICH system, rapid instant change hypnosis, is I like to think of compliance in two phases. Okay, now the first phase of compliance is arguably you can't really skip. Well, you can skip to phase. I guess you can skip to phase 2. You can do that in a street hypnosis setting, but you're going to be you're probably still going to have a very kind of a small bit of phase 1 to establish the right frame for you. So let me just talk about what I mean by phase 1 and phase 2 compliance, particularly when I'm looking for a client to come. So phase one compliance is where we are, in essence, building up a sense of anticipation. We're building it up in our marketing so that people will answer the question, so they have inside their mind an answer to the question, why should I come to see this person? Why should I trust this person? What are they going to do for me? And this needs to be very clear, very well marketed. It needs to, because it's starting the process off. You see, most hypnotists think that, and coaches and therapists think that when a person comes to see them, that is when you are doing your session, and that is when the therapy happens. It is not. It happens at the moment, it happens the instant that inside their mind, they have the idea that they want to solve a problem. And if they have been referred to you by somebody else, that's why it's so powerful, because at that moment inside their mind, they're saying, well, look, I've seen John or I've seen Joan and they used to smoke and now they're not smoking and they've gone to see Richard and Richard can help you stop smoking. So now this is, they're already quite a long way down that route, which is why referrals are generally going to be some of your best source of work. So phase one compliance, it begins with our marketing. And we have to, and we are giving suggestions in that marketing that we are credible, we are authority, an authority figure, we're an expert in our field and we can help people. And there's lots of ways we can do that with social proof. The idea then is that people will call us for a consultation. And in phase one compliance, the consultation really is where you are going to be doing most of the work in terms of sowing your initial suggestions, because you're going to take the time to speak with the people who you're with and you're going to find out from them very clearly what the problem is. Now, you see, here's the thing. Just picture this for a minute. Somebody has had a problem for years, and they've had it 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Occasionally I get people in their 70s and 80s, they phone up. They've had it all their lives. They finally had the courage to pick up the phone and speak to you. If you take the time to listen, and if you take the time to help them really go into detail about this problem, they're not going to want to pick up the phone and go to somebody else and run through that whole spiel again, okay? It's painful, it's difficult. If you can leverage by going through the system that we mentioned on the previous video, which is simply a variation of one that we learned from that I learned from our teachers, from my original NLP and HNLP teachers, John Obdoff and Judy Silverthorne, where you are associating somebody to the problem, you're then bringing them out of the problem, you're then associating them to the resources, and then you're taking those resources into the future. One of my colleagues, Igor, likes to call it the PCAT system, and so the way that he conceptualizes that is that the P is the problem, the C is the bypass of the critical factor, and then the A is accessing resources. And this is just a simple other way to remember them. The T is to transform. And that is really just a very similar concept where the person will speak to us on the phone and we're going to ask them problems. Now, also ask them questions that will get them fully associated to the problem. Once they're fully associated from the problem, you can get them to disassociate from it. So let me give you a little example. Somebody's on the phone and you need to, what I will do is I'll really take time to get them to tell me, so why is this problem so bad for you? Why has it got to this point that you want to change it? And they will start telling you. At that point, once you've gone into that, you can step back and say, well, look, aside from that, if you just park that at the back of your mind for now, when you've completely solved this problem, how will your life be completely different? Now we're starting to go into accessing resources. We've already we're bypassing. The bypassing critical factor happens as they start to, with imagination and with emotion, which is unconscious, which is subconscious, imagine what it's like on the other side. At that point, you can start building up those resources and get them to really start to imagine that future without their problem. They will not have done this probably ever in their lives. And if you start to guide them down, they're going to start to feel better inside. They're going to start to feel happier. They're going to start to feel more alive. And then you can test that again, and they'll say to you, I'm starting to feel better already. If you get that kind of result on the phone, you have got somebody who's very suggestible already, because they have become because they've become compliant and because they are they're just ready to change. They've got that motivation. You'll know that they're ready. So the consultation is a really, really important part of this. So that's like one part of the process. But in essence, the key part in phase 1 compliance is you must absolutely establish certainty inside their minds that they are going to change. And here's how you'll do it. You can, well, there's lots of ways you can do it, but the way that I like to do it now is I like to say to them, use the hypnotic triple. You know what, when you come to see me, you will, and you've overcome this problem, you will feel fantastic. You're going to feel so good. It's very, very easy. All you do is after we've finished our consultation today, I'll send you a link. You book online. As soon as you've booked online, you'll get your pre-session questionnaire. Now, your pre-session questionnaire is really important because all you're going to do is you're going to sit down, you're going to take an evening, and you're going to go through and you're going to find that you can get all the detail down there. You're going to write it out by hand, you're going to send it to me by first-class registered post. When you send that to me, I'm going to have everything I need to do a tailored session to you. When you come to see me, you're going to walk through the door, I'm going to have a tailored session prepared that's going to help you make all the changes that you want. Not only will you have all those changes there, when you walk through the door, I'm going to show you right off the bat how you can use your imagination, to literally get changes inside your body, fantastic changes inside your body. You're going to literally think a thought inside your mind, and within a few seconds, something's going to happen. Your body's going to start to respond to that, and you will be amazed. And we're going to do this 3 times, and when this happens, you're going to find that you are totally beyond anything that you've experienced before, amazed at the power of your subconscious mind, because it's all about the powers of your imagination, your concentration, your intelligence. And as you use your powers of imagination, concentration, and intelligence, you'll then go into the hypnosis session. You'll find that you'll go down deeply, you'll relax. These suggestions will go in, and by the time you finish, you will have changed. So that by the time you leave, the recording that I do, because I record this bespoke session for you, you will take that away, and every other day for 28 days, you have this recording to listen to. And as you do, as you listen to it at bedtime, you'll find that you grow in confidence, you become healthier, you become happier, you just find that your life improves in so many ways. Okay, so let me stop you there. So this is my consultation, this is my phone consultation, okay? So can you get a sense of how powerful that is to the person who phones up? Because look, we're in here to do several things. We want to help people out, we want to inspire them. So if we want to inspire them to come and see us, it's not, rather than trying to be the traditional sort of salesperson who's trying to sort of beg or wheedle or whatever, or say, oh, I need to go and speak to my manager and we'll see if we can get you a discount. Just inspire, seek to inspire them and add more value. Show them, give them an example of what it's like to feel that way, so that they're feeling that inspired. And that's what I mean by phase 1 compliance. In phase 1 compliance, they start saying to themselves, you know what, this could work. And they're so inspired and excited. This is why, by the way, there is no need, you don't really need to do a formal close in terms of booking. I just say to people, you know what, look, I've really, this is something that is really going to make a big difference to you. All we need to do is I'll send you a quick email. You'll have the booking link there. As soon as you're booked online, I'll give you a call, I'll text you, and we'll find a date to get you in, and sometime in the next 4 or 5 weeks. So what I'll do is I'll just send it to you. It's a simple link. You can book, it'll take a couple of minutes. You can book online. As soon as I send that link through, just book on there, and I will get immediate confirmation. I'll get straight back to let you know that you've booked, that everything's in hand, and I'll send you all the details so we can get you booked in for your session. I do it exactly like that, and I follow up within 5 to 10 minutes of the call with an email and a text to the paypal.me link. And if you haven't got paypal.me, you should definitely get yourself a page with that, / whatever your rate is. And I would encourage you to look at £297 or £300 as your starting kind of post for a single session, because you are the expert if you're a therapist, if you're a coach, and even if you haven't done coaching or hypnosis before, you do have lots of life experience, and it is valuable. And so as you're setting this context, you're setting all these things up in your marketing and your website and your business card, in all those other things that you're doing, you need to position yourself in the right way. You need to be completely credible. If you went in and you were going to buy the new, let's say you liked Apple iPhones, you went to the shop and said, oh, that's great, I've got this new Apple iPhone, it's 58p. Be like, pardon? Something doesn't quite feel right there, does it? Okay, but £300, okay, right, okay, this is good. There is a limit to that in terms of like general areas where you go, so you have to play around with it a little bit. I found no one bats an eyelid for £300. £500, some people will go with it, some people do better. But that's neither that. So it really depends on where you are in the audience that you're working with. So this is pre-session, this is your phase on compliance. You know what, this could work. And honestly, once you've got that in there, you are 60, 70% arguably of the way there, maybe more. Okay, so this is really important. I will talk separately about the maybe in more detail about how to associate people to problems, how to get to dissociate them from them, how to associate to resources, and how to link those resources to the future, because that is the meta pattern, what John Overdorf and Julie Silverthorne call the meta pattern of all NLP patterns. And it is a really useful way to think about working with. It's a really good way to think about sales. It's a really good way to think about a lot of things. But when people come to see me, now, by the way, I want to be really clear. I think that whilst I don't think that there is a specific state called hypnosis, I think there are a lot of things that happen around, a lot of really good processes from NLP and lots of other disciplines that can help people access resourceful states, and that when done in the right way and with the right context can help create a context in which people can change totally quickly, can leave fears and phobias behind. Any of you who've worked with people with fears, phobias, weight loss, habits. I've seen people who've been crunching them. One lady came to see me, she was crunching her knuckles every night so loudly. She was in her 20s, so loudly that the knuckles were kind of painful the next day and swollen, and her partner was unable to sleep at night. And she came in and she's, and I just sort of looked at her, I got into a light trance. I said, I'm going to drop your arm down. You'll just be back there now at the earliest time when that happens. You'll be back there at the earliest time when it happened. And there she was in school, first day, feeling a little bit anxious, people around her looking at her. And I just immediately got her to step back. Let's just pop that on a TV screen. You can see it on the TV screen over there. Ran the equivalent of the fast phobia cure. If you're not familiar with that, you see yourself at a younger age on the screen. You can imagine that image going backwards and forwards with some other suggestions. And by the time I brought her back, that was gone, that was changed, and she never had that problem again. In fact, she booked a couple of sessions, and there was another thing she wanted to do, but that, by the time she came, it was just gone, it was changed, it was never an issue again. So this can be very, very powerful, but we still need to create a context of receptivity for our ideas. We need our clients to be compliant, and we're going to establish the compliance through certain questions that we do, through our tone of voice, through our demeanor. We're also going to look at hypnosis, and we're going to look at the change process as something that happens right from the get-go. So I think the mistake a lot of people make is, other than not picking a niche and being scared to sort of pick a niche because it feels like it's marketing or something, and all we mean by niche marketing is, you're the person who helps, women who've had children get their figure back again by helping them, overcome sugar cravings or whatever it is, or you help men, you help men who used to be fit. I mean, I really like this issue, helping men who have got kids. They used to be really fit when they're younger. They've been smoking loads. They haven't got enough energy to go and play with their kids in the playground. And they're really determined. They want to get back into training again. They're a delight to work with those people. They've got kids for a start, which is great leverage and motivation for them. They also used to be really fit and healthy. I mean, some of these people used to, do boxing or really pump weights and stuff. And so they've already got those resources and abilities. They've got that muscle memory. They've got that memory in there. So they're absolute delight to work with. So don't be afraid to niche. But the other thing is, you've got to realize that the hypnosis, if you will, i.e. the process of people, something beginning to switch inside people's minds to think that by coming to spend time with you, their life is going to be different. That starts the moment they look at your website, the moment they start going through it. And it would be a very, very good idea for you, even though, you have to be very open. It would be a very good idea for you to pick somebody who you trust, fellow hypnotist, fellow coach, fellow therapist, or could be a member of the public or a friend, to go through your website and give you some feedback. And you will be amazed at some of the things that they pick up. Okay, and the reason for that is that the hypnosis starts the moment people will start to decide to be compliant or less compliant from the moment they look at your website and your marketing materials. You've got to get that right. So remember, phase one compliance is, this could work, and that's your marketing, everything from your website to your flyers, the consultation, the way you speak, and your pre-session questionnaire. Now, your phase 2 compliance is when people walk through your door, when they walk through into your office. And of course, you can greet them, hi there, nice to see you today, come and have a cup of tea. I think Alex and Alex William-Smith in this boot camp, which is brilliant, wonderful thing to go and join. I found it very, very useful, and I'm learning loads of great material in there. Wonderful community of people. He recommends, a cup of tea and a few other things, which I think is great. The rapport is going to be very quick, but what's going to happen is, before you get to hypnosis, you're going to do your phase 2 compliance. And the phase 2 compliance is really simple and really easy. And I will go through these on a video because it's good to, I practice this routine all the time. And you will have done some of it. In fact, I had my friend Vicky today tell me she was doing it in the playground when she was 8 years old. I had another gentleman who I met, wasn't Chris, I want to say Stuart, who I met last weekend, said that he used to do it in the playground as well, and you may have done it as well. So I'll show you the first one, which is one of the most powerful things hypnotists can do, and you may well have done it as a kid, or you may well have seen it as a kid in the playground. But I just wanted to let you know that there are still so many things that I do in between this, kind of like to bridge this as a transition. I've written deconstruct there, and by that I mean that when a person comes in, I will be giving them lots of suggestions. It's going to be you did a great job on your pre-session questionnaire. Come and sit down. I'll take out my mobile phone and say, I'm just going to turn my mobile off now. I'm going to be looking to make sure that they're doing the same, that they've had that as well, that they're going to be following me along. So we're always testing with the compliance. Can you sit here? That's great. And so you're asking questions to make sure that they are in that right receptive state of mind. And I will still use things like the NLP meta model, conversational hypnosis, mind-bending language, which are things that my colleagues Igor Ledachowski teaches. There are lots of things that you can learn that are really good and really useful. And I like to give the suggestions. I like to do the bulk of my work covertly so that, a person can feel confident and before they go into hypnosis. So I could wait till you're in hypnosis and go, well, you are feeling really confident. Or I can just say, you know what, it's amazing how confident you can feel as you go into hypnosis. Now, you'll find this really easy to do today. It's very simple, it's very straightforward. But before we get to that, we're going to do something that is really, really fun. And I think you're going to like this because this is going to show you how powerful your mind is. So what are we going to do? Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you the 3 things I do, but why don't we do at least the first one together, and then you can see what that's like. And if you've done that before, great, do it again, because you want to get really confident at doing this. I would suggest you do this with all your clients. And in fact, what blew my mind is once I'd learned to do this and seen it, it looks very simple. Once I'd done it and learned it, I practiced it many, many times just by myself in front of the mirror. And then I went out and did it with people, and every single one of them basically dropped into what we would typically think of as a deep hypnotic state just from doing this. So just make sure it's nice, safe, and appropriate for you to do this. And this is just a little mind exercise, a little compliance, a convincer. However, if for any reason you are let's say you are pregnant, or you are not in the best of health, then perhaps give this one a miss and just watch it. But this is basically going to be getting you to put your hands together and look at your fingers. So as long as it is comfortable and for you to do that, then you'll probably find this is a nice, gentle, comfortable thing for you to do. So basically, the client will come in, and I'll say, look, now what I want you to do is I want you to put your hands out in front of you like this. And so you're going to show them. So what I want you to do is put your hands out in front of you like this, bring your hands together, I want you to clap them together, and I want you to just imagine that they're coming together, they're glued together, welded together, glued together, welded together, getting stuck, glued together, welded together. And I want you to just lift these 2 front fingers up in front. That's right, put them in inches. That's right, make sure they're an inch apart. As your hands are really pushing, stuck together at the bottom, as those 2 fingers are there. And just as you look at the space in between them, they start to come together. Notice how they come together and they touch, and close your eyes. That's right, close your eyes. And relax inside. Just feel that relaxing sensation all the way through your body, all the way through your body, all the way through your body, all the way through your body now. Wonderful. And then just open your eyes. Fantastic. How was that? How did you find that? And people are just, at this point, I swear, people are, and you may be like this now. You know what I say to my clients? That I'm looking at them, there's this look of amazement, of wonder on their faces. And I say to them, did you know that was going to happen? Did you know that was going to happen? And they're like, no, that was just amazing. I said, that is the power of your mind. And imagine how much more powerful that's going to be when we go into hypnosis in a second. That problem that you've had will be completely gone to the degree it was that easy for you to do what you've just done there. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the phase 2 compliance. At that point, you have them exactly where you want them. And that's what a phase 2, you know when you've got a phase 2 compliance, because it's along this lines, it's bloody hell, this is working. All right, phase 1 compliance is, you know what, this could work. Phase 2 compliance, bloody hell, this is working. Use the fingers. You only actually need to do that, believe it or not. That's the only thing you need to do. And as long as you have your clients, get their hands up, get them to clap them together so there's a bit of energy there. And tell them to keep them really strong together, their hands, so it's welded, really pushing together on the bottom, okay? And they can even bring up their hands like this, like this there in front of them. And then get them to just have those 2 fingers like that in front as you keep pushing your hands together. And what will happen is those 2 fingers just will start to naturally come together, and in just a moment they're going to touch, and you're going to just relax and just suggest to them they can close their eyes and relax and relax. It is such a wonderful, simple convincer to do. But the benefit of that is that you have a naturally occurring physiological process. One of my friends today, she said to me, Rich, I feel embarrassed doing that because we used to do that as kids in the playground. Yes, you did used to do that as kids in the playground. You know what? And that was just a bit of harmless fun then. But what you're doing now is you are suggesting to a person that the reason that is happening is because they're using their powers of intelligence, imagination, and concentration. The moment it does happen, then you attach a further suggestion that they're going into trance. And then after that, when they're in that state of wonder and amazement, then you as a hypnotist go, did you expect that to happen? Did you know that was going to happen? And of course, they didn't know that consciously, which means that unconsciously something must be happening. And what that does to them is it starts to trigger this switch inside their mind. Literally, it's flicking what we think maybe the amygdala. You're flicking a part of their mind that is just stunned, that's amazed. And in that space is opening up a possibility for change to happen. So in phase 2 compliance, we're going to do this convince. I can run through the other couple for us now, but I may go to these in some detail. Honestly, there are loads of courses in the boot camp. You will learn this. There are other people you can learn it with. I did this year. I did the Advanced Walk-Up Street Hypnosis course. It's excellent because you have the drills there and you go through every little thing in detail. But once you've done that, you can then get them to do a couple more. Now, I like to do this just so that they're completely compliant, so that they are. That you're building from compliance to positive expectation to triggering the placebo effect. And in this one, simply you put your hands up. Well, let's do this together. Your hands are like that in front of you. And as you've got your hands there in front of you, keep them about this far apart, not like this. That's right, that far in front of you. And as you look there, I want you to imagine that here and here in your hands are 2 giant magnets. That's right. And look at this now. Now those magnets are starting to pull those hands together, pull them together. They're starting to pull together, coming together unconsciously. That's right. And as the more you think about it, the more they start to come together. The more you don't even do anything, they just start to come together. That's right. Coming together. And now I'm relaxed. That's right. And very good. Deeper and deeper. And you could lean over at this point and just suggest they close their eyes if they haven't done it already. Very good. And if you're there, just allow yourself to make sure you are comfortably back inside the room. It is that easy to do. Now, the wonderful thing with this is, what you're going to love here is, and it really amazed me that all the top basically hypnotists do this. And I just thought, like, early on, because I've done this with groups of people, and generally, if you suggest it, it will happen. But sometimes there are people who are struggling a little bit. But if you're working with one person, you know what you do? As you suggest that, you lightly touch on this side of the hand. So if I'm actually there, I'm going to lightly touch on that, and I'm going to lightly touch on the other. So I've already started moving them together. And I'll just lightly touch and say, oh, that's great. And they're moving together, and you're lightly, So, you're going to get those hands are going to go together. Trust me, they're going to go together in a very few seconds. But the secret is that you tell them that's going to happen, and you suggest to them, as those hands close, you can close your eyes and you can go into a wonderful relaxed state. So wonderful and comfortable. That's right. And your head falls forward and you feel fantastic. So next time when I say the word sleep, you'll close your eyes and you'll go 10 times deeper inside. Your mind will be relaxed. You'll feel clear. You'll feel wonderful. So the moment I say the word sleep, you close your eyes, you relax your whole body, going deeper and deeper and deeper inside. So that's the second one. Now after that, honestly, I swear to you, bloody hell, this is working. You have phase 2 compliance. And phase 2 compliance really they're amazed, they're open, they're ready for your suggestions, which is arguably all you really want to achieve in the hypnosis session. But I will tend to say to them, you know what, this is so good now. I think you're going to be amazed at how easy it is for you to, not only are you going to change, you're just going to find that just something about you is just going to be, your life is going to become easier in so many ways. Now, we've got the third thing, which is the handshake induction, which is a bit difficult for me to demonstrate without you being there, but in essence, it's a very, very simple one to do. After you've done those two, and these, by the way, will take the first one might take maybe 30 seconds. The second one's going to take a minute. Then you do the third one. Just say, sorry, by the way, which hand do you normally write with? And I say, I'm right-handed or whatever. Say, oh, great. So just and then you just take the hand. You'll gently lift it up with a couple of fingers. Just gently lift it up, and you'll just point inside the middle of the hand and say, look in the center of your hand. Look at the lines in your hand. Look at one point in the center of your hand, and just notice the changing focus of your vision as this hand starts to move towards you. That's right, it starts to move towards your face. It starts to move towards your face, coming closer and closer as it does. Your eyes are closed, and that hand just moving towards your face, moving towards your face. And that's right. And you go deeper and deeper inside, more and more relaxed. And did you see again? I just gently touch the hand. That hand's going to start moving towards their face because I have moved in that direction. Okay, it really amazed me because I thought when I was learning, I don't know about you, when I first learned, if you've ever done hypnotic phenomena before, if you've ever learned about hypnotic phenomena, that really all you're going to do is you're going to, rather than just relying on something spooky, should we say, happening, you're going to set up the conditions so that is absolutely going to work. You're going to make it work. But more importantly than that, you've created a context of positive expectation, and you will piggyback your suggestions on the back of that happening. And it is a fantastic thing to experience because you'll see the people there. And once the hand's on here, you've got a lot of choices as a hypnotist. You can say, your hand is, and your hand is stuck there. Somehow it seems to be glued to your head. It seems to be glued to your head. And the more you think about moving it, the weirder it's. That's right, it's glued, it's welded, it's like somebody's just stuck it there. It's glued and welded to your head. And just open your eyes and have a look at that and really try now to move your hand. That's right, try now to move your hand. You know what's happening. Does this normally happen? Well, no. That's right, so just close your eyes. You're only going to tap the back of your hand as it drops down. Just allow yourself to go under 10 times deeper and sleep. Okay, wonderful. And then you can just reorient them around. That, again, is going to take a few seconds. Once you have practiced those three components, and it is as simple as that, you now have a wonderful hypnotic triple that you can use. So by the time you go into your actual session, everything is perfectly the way you want to do it. I promise you, if you get all of this right, it doesn't matter what you do there. You could have a little magic wands that you go over and tap them very gently, on the shoulder and say, and you are now cured. Actually, I wouldn't use the word cured, but you're now better. It really doesn't matter. You could say, I'm going to put on some music now. As you listen to this music, it's going to take care of everything that you want. You're just going to lie there, and as you do, it's going to take care of everything you want. It really, honestly, I would think at this point, pretty much the work is done. But we wouldn't leave it there. What we do for the final bit in a way that I think is really nice and elegant here, and actually gives you a fourth convincer as well. And this is really about as old school as you can get, but combined with new school, which is leading into this bit is you're going to do the book and balloon, sometimes called the brick and balloon. And when you do that, you're then going to combine it with Rob Temple's seesaw induction, okay, which Rob Temple and Alex William-Smith own the rights to. And the seesaw induction is just a wonderful one. If any of the folk who were there last weekend, basically all you're doing is you'll start off like this. So basically the book and balloon is a classic convincer test that you'll do. And and it's really fantastic because people are already in this space. It's like, bloody hell, this is working. And so I won't say to them, we're going to do a formal induction. I say, look, put your hands out in front of you like this, and I want you to have, or your left hand out like that, and I want your right hand, that's right. So your left hand's up like that, and I want you to just imagine that there's a bunch of heavy books in this hand, and I want you to imagine there's some helium balloons in the other hand. That's right, close your eyes. Those helium balloons are pushing up on that side, lifting you up. And those books are just weighing down on the other hand, another one, weighing down, weighing down, weighing down, weighing down. That's right, and that's right. Very good. And then I like to get them to just open their eyes around and say, just look at what's happening there. Can you see what's going on? That is the power of your imagination. And just close your eyes again. That's right, just close your eyes. Now, at this point, this is where you can do the seesaw induction. Simply in the seesaw induction is where we'll say with their eyes are closed, and you can see it if you've not got the videos there, they're in the boot camp area, or you may have had them last week. It's a wonderful thing where you will literally just say to me, in a moment, I'm just going to touch you on the back of your hands. And it's like literally a tap like that with the finger that they're going to feel. And you say, you know what, in a moment, I'm just going to touch you on the back of the hands. Just going to be a little light touch on the back of both of your hands. And when you do that touch, you then take their arms, you then will gently move them up in one motion, pull the arm out and pull their body down and say the word sleep. And they will go every time to a wonderful, deep, comfortable state. And if you're using the complete mind therapy script or whatever approach you use, it's a very, very nice touch at that point to just say, unless you keep your eyes closed, today's session will be 100% successful for you. As long as you keep your eyes closed, you will be 100% successful. And it's just a wonderful, fantastic, comfortable, easy way to go. So I hope this gives you a nice kind of feel for compliance. When we're talking about, I think sometimes when we're talking now, and I will do a video where we look at the history of hypnosis and the two competing schools, the North Sea School and the Paris School, and the tradition between them. It's a wonderful story of rivalry from Mesmer through to one school saying that we are we have the answer, it's a special state, and then another school saying no, it's not. It's about suggestion, and the rivalry and these camps that have existed for a long time that have come through. And I think, to be honest, in the public's imagination, most people think of hypnosis as a special state. What we know today is that it is, even if that did exist, and there's, I would say, probably quite little evidence for that, but even if we did accept that, the important thing around that is the whole framework and context in which we set. We know, for instance, that through Ted Kapuchik's work at the Institute for Placebo Studies, or the School for Placebo Studies, Harvard Medical School, that if somebody believes, if an authority figure tells them they're going to get better from a procedure, for instance, using sham acupuncture needles, and they've got IBS, there's going to be an improvement 62% of the time versus either about 30 or 42% of the time if they believe it. So once you trigger the placebo effect, people get better. Physically they get better. Headaches go away. They lose weight. They grow confident. There are hormonal changes inside the body. There are just magical, seemingly magical things that happen as a result of that. If we can create that context for change and that sense of expectancy, then we're real forces for good in the world. And that's what I'm doing here. That's why I think it's really important that you understand a sense of compliance and how you need to be building up this phase one compliance, this intense expectation, this intense belief that when a person comes to see you, they're going to be getting the change that they want. And I've given you the example today from the point of view of imagining seeing somebody for one session, just so you can see how I approach that, because we can't leave anything to chance. We want that person, they've paid good money, they've had a difficulty in their life. We absolutely want to make sure they're going to get the change they want. Now, I will say that I am very careful in my phase one compliance, particularly the consultation point. I make sure that person is robust mentally in mental health. I will be asking them questions, and I will make sure on the phone that I'll ask them to do certain things at certain times. I will be these will be, very, very sort of small, seemingly small things. Like, can I just stop you there for a minute? And I'll ask them a question, and I want to see that they can answer it clearly and quickly and coherently. I had somebody a little while back who was unable to answer questions. I would ask them, I would go on to another tangent. I then asked them something else later on, and they gave me an answer that, let me just say, concerned me greatly. And if your spider sense goes on for any reason, the consultation stage, I will give people some things to do. I'll say, well, look, I don't think this is for you at this time. I suggest maybe you learn a few mindfulness exercises, or I can just give you, there's a nice self-hypnosis recording, or I suggest you go and read this book, or, I suggest there are lots of psychotherapists locally they can come and talk to. So I'm going to be making sure up here in the consultation that person is absolutely the right fit. How do I know they're the right fit? Because by the end of the consultation, they're saying to me, I'm feeling better already. And that's really what you want. So phase one compliance says, you know what, this could work. phase 2 is where you're going to do those convincers, the magnetic the finger vice, otherwise magnetic fingers, magnetic hands, handshake induction, and the book and balloon and the seesaw induction is a nice way to do it. You don't have to follow that. That's, but if I was to have a paint by numbers thing, I use that. And you know why? It means that I know exactly right the way through how I'm going to work consistently with a client. They have these things now, and it's, I've done it before. It's not the most exciting one, but in business, you have Prince 2. I've done the ITIL service delivery. I've done, Chartered Institute of Marketing and Diploma in Digital Marketing. But having a particular system in place does have some benefits. And one of the things it can do is it can ensure consistency in approach. It can ensure consistency in results. If all the best pilots have checklists before takeoff that they go through, even though they know that stuff inside out, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. And I think by having a very specific way that you approach that, you can focus on the things that you need to, which is the non-verbal clues from your or cues rather, the non-verbal cues from your client, and make sure that they're in that really, really wonderful receptive state. And of course, any step of the way that they're not compliant, you'll just stop and you'll go back to where they were. And if you can see them something looking quizzical at any point, you can just stop and say, "Oh, that's right. And I'm just wondering, do you have any questions?" And stop and ask them. It doesn't matter what they say, because you're going to answer and say, "You're exactly right. It's a really good question," and you will reassure them. Okay, so I hope this has been really useful for you, because this has literally transformed the way that I work with people. The results that they get, if I'm doing just a single session, they're absolutely amazing. And it gives me wonderful confidence at every step of the process. It gives me wonderful confidence when I'm putting the website together, because I know that website is going to be doing the job for me. When it goes to the consultation, I know that I'm just going to be I know the emphasis, I know where I'm going, so that the person, I can really add value to that person. And my aim is to leave them inspired and with hope, and to trigger inside their mind a sense that they can change. And I'm not going to leave, I'm not going to say, well, you can only change if you come to see me. I'm just going to, I'm going to help them get to that point where they totally believe that, irrespective of where they are in their lives. And if they choose as well, if they choose to come and see me, then fantastic. And if they choose to do something else, fantastic. But I'm going to make sure that that is triggered for them, and so that there's some good vibes there. But I can tell you pretty much they want to come and see me. I mean, that I have the reverse problem, which is that sometimes people say they want to come and see me, but I can just sense that they're not compliant. And what do I mean by that? Well, they'll be saying, "Oh, I'm so good at being hypnotized. No, it's really good. Oh, no, oh, this is great. Yeah, no, I just want to come and see you. No, that's fine. No, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. So I'm going to come and see you." So what's happening is they're saying, "Oh, I want to change, but I'm going to be in charge, and I'm going to be leading this dance." And unfortunately, that's not the way it works in this particular field. It is a dance, but the hypnotist needs to be leading the dance. So I hope that's really helpful. If you have any questions, please, you can PM me, so message me on Facebook. If you like it, please do give a little like, that'll be useful. Please, if you have a comment there, absolutely fantastic. Let me know this is useful to you. Let me know this is helpful. Let me know this is clear. Let me know that you enjoy me communicating with you this way, because then I can do more of these, and I know that that's worthwhile. And my aim really is that we have, as therapists, as coaches, we have a way of communicating with each other and supporting each other, so that we can get far better results. You see, too many coaches are out there, too many hypnotherapists, too many hypnotists. They're trying to do things by themselves. Their marketing sucks. The consultation sucks. They're doing stuff that they were taught by a particular technique, and I've studied over the last 17 years, trust me, with many, many hypnotists and many trainers around the world, spending many tens of thousands of pounds. But you can have some great things, but you have somebody who comes in and is a right royal pain in the arse. You didn't know how to handle it, and what happens is it can knock your confidence, and then and you're struggling a bit with your marketing, and we don't want that. We want to be there for each other to help keep ourselves at the top of our game, keep ourselves motivated, keep each other growing. There are over 8 billion people in the world, so there's more than enough business for all of us. At the moment, I'd like to find another hypnotist and coach who I can swap with, who can coach me to, even if they don't think they do that, trust me, you do coaching, and you can do it to help me stay on track for certain goals. And I love doing this anyway, so it's an absolute joy for me to do that. We do this with other people, and it makes no difference where they are in the world, because we can do it via Skype, we can do it via mobile phone. It really doesn't make any difference. So I hope this is useful for you. Please really think about this and see how you can apply it for yourself. If you are not, the one last thing I'll leave you with, if you're not a hypnotist, if you're not a coach, but you do want to create more of a receptivity, more response potential, people basically to listen to what you're saying, then you can apply some of these principles. And I think you need to give, what you need to give some thought to are the way that you come across to people. It's really interesting, because I spend a lot of time also working at a local, where the office is near a local hospital, or on the hospital grounds. I see people at all different kind of like stages going through, and sometimes it's simple things like your body language. We discussed on day 2 some things that you can do of these series. If you go back a couple of days to the one on body language, it will talk to you about body language and some other things you can do to be more confident. If your body language is down here, you're sending out a certain message, and people will be less compliant. Now you suddenly change the way you hold yourself. Something as simple as that can start to make people more receptive. You can become more of a credible figure. In the way you are approaching people, in the way that you ask questions of them, just in the way that you respond, the way that you respond to them, the way that you talk with a certain level of certainty. You can start to build up response potential in them. There are things like the yes ladder or the yes set, which are very, very good. And these are ways in which you can, while speaking to somebody, you can ask them some questions which will tend to get them, where they tend to say yes, or where they're going to tend to feel good. And then what your next suggestion tends to be more readily accepted. And I really want you to understand this, because in America, when they've done experiments and they've looked at the consultants or the kind of medical folk who get sued, it's really interesting, because the people who have a nice bedside manner, or the folk who are really kind and take a genuine interest in other people, those people, even if there is a difficulty, they very, very rarely, if ever, get sued or have difficulty. So I truly believe that if you approach this with the spirit of kindness and gentleness and honesty, then good things will happen. You're training the other people who you're with to be successful clients, to get the results that they want. The reason that they've come to see you is because they feel out of control inside their own minds, inside their own bodies. And so you have to help them to be in that receptive, open state in which they can be receptive to your suggestions. And that's what we're doing as hypnotists. Now, I'm assuming that they want to go in, and that you're going to do that in a specific kind of ritualistic space, perhaps in a hypnosis session or coaching session. But, to be very honest, I like to do a lot of this stuff conversationally and covertly with them, as I say, in the consultation, and also to deconstruct the problem as we're talking, perhaps metaphorically. I will elicit the positive state, so I'll do the equivalent of conversational collapsing anchors with them. I'll be asking them, how do you feel? For instance, you've been watching this today, and when you go away from here tonight, and you start to look back on something that has shifted inside you, I wonder what it will be that will have shifted inside you beyond anything you thought that might have happened before. Because I know that there is an area of your life that if you mastered to the point where you felt so confident and so energized and inspired inside, it would just have a positive knock-on effect in your life. And it might be something quite simple, but I know that there is an area of your life where you want to feel more confident. And as this video finishes tonight, and as you go away, and as you reflect on all the interesting, exciting, and stimulating material that you've got inside you, that you've listened to, I'm really curious, because tonight you're going to sleep and dream. And as you sleep and dream inside your mind, your unconscious mind begins to process things. Now, I don't know what your unconscious mind is going to process. I don't know whether you're going to have black and white dreams or technicolor dreams. I don't know exactly how vivid those dreams will be, but I do know that wonderful things are being processed inside. And I do know that that area of your life where you want to feel masterful, where you want to feel more confident, where you want to feel just like there are solutions there are things that you can do that are going to confidently move you in that direction. I'm really excited to just consider in how many ways that can happen just as you sleep each night. Because the thing is, once you start to do that one night, then you're going to be sleeping on other nights, and your unconscious mind is going to be learning from the learnings from the previous night, which means that everything that you've heard today will continue to help you into the future, to inspire you in whole new ways in which you never imagined. Now, back then, at the beginning of the video, as it started today, who would have thought there was so much rich potential inside? Now, so fantastic. So I'd like to just say thank you so much for taking time tonight. I'm Richard Haggerty. You can find a little bit more on the website, richardhaggerty.co.uk. But please do leave a comment. Let me know if this was useful for you, if this was helpful. I'm happy to answer general questions about different schools, different things that I've done, who I'm currently studying with, and the wonderful people there. Which is just fantastic. I'm very, very happy to talk about that. I'm a member of the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, some wonderful people there, some fantastic things to join. There's other materials that I study as well. And I have a real thirst for knowledge, but my ultimate aim for doing this is to share this information with other people so that we can support each other, so that we can continue to grow, we can build our businesses, we can help people out, we can keep each other motivated, we can keep each other moving forward. We can take this knowledge, we can understand the wider context, we can understand these frames, we can fill in the gaps, the gaps in our knowledge, be it in marketing, be it in business, be it things that we perhaps didn't feel quite so confident about in terms of hypnosis skills. So if you've got any questions about hypnosis, NLP, anything like that, please do feel free to ask. If you have some other question of any nature that has cropped up, please do that. If you leave some kind of comment or like, just let me know that was cool, that was fun, that was interesting, or just even, I did not understand what you were going about. That'd be fab. It really doesn't matter to me. It will be wonderful to just know, because then I can change, I can modify, I can improve, I can and also, please let me know if there is something, a topic that you want me to go into, drill into in more detail, because I will do that then. So thank you so much for your time tonight. I am Richard. I am going to turn this off now. I'm going to finish the video so that you can go and get some sleep. I've got to go and finish a press release now and launch my rapid blushing removal site. So I'm going to go and do that now before I fall asleep. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is lovely to share. It's lovely to be with other people who are interested in this material. And if you are interested in coaching, if you're interested in hypnosis, if you're interested in swapping sessions, if you're interested in just doing this regularly to help out, then please let me know, and we will you can just either instant message me or leave some kind of question here. Thank you very much. I'm Richard, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.